Play viewers, this is Dr. Jana, sex researcher, professor of human sexuality at NYU, and your host of Ask a Sexpert here on Periscope. Welcome to another scope. We'll be talking tonight about women orgasming and not orgasming, especially in hookups. Who do we have in the house with my live viewers before I get into it? Hi from California. Hi, Lori. I study casual sex, and that's something that I talk about very often. I have a TEDx talk on Are Hookups Healthy? And this scope was inspired. Hi from Philly, Steve in LA. It was inspired by an article that just got posted on Alternet by Lisa Wade, who's a social scientist. She's not on Periscope, but she is on Twitter, and you should totally look her up. Hi, Gabe's from Orlando. And she wrote about sort of the orgasm gap, and that's something that I've talked about, and I want to talk about to you here. Hi, Doc. Sunny Corpus here. Join you. Oh, earlier. Hi from the Brainy Scope. Hi from Montreal, Michigan. First timer. Yay! I love first timers. Good morning. Oh, where are you from? That it's a morning to you. It's like 11 p.m. In Brooklyn. Hi, Michelle. We have another sexpert in the house. Hi, Boston. Nice. Good to see you all tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Jana, and I am a sex researcher who studies casual sex, non-monogamy, and sexual orientation, and I teach a human sexuality class to undergrads at NYU. Oh, Philippines, right. New Zealand, hello. Ooh, we have a lot of international people here tonight. Women don't orgasm because of lack of stimulation. Yes, I love first timers. I do love first timers of all kinds. Australia, hi Zulu. Jody, Aaron's in the house. Jody is a relationship expert or a relationship therapist, another sex positive person here who does relationship lounges for those of you who need some relationship support. So do check her out. Oh, thank you for the hearts. For those of you who don't know me and who just happened to stumble upon this scope, please follow me. You can do that by swiping left to right if you're on iOS, or just up on Android and click follow. And you can also share this with other people. You can share this with your followers on Twitter or on Periscope if you think this is going to be something that is going to be useful to people, yourselves, and others. The more people know about this, the better. And yes, this will be science. This is not I'm not pulling this out of my sleeve. This is all science because I love science and I love talking about science to people. Hi from Venezuela. I love Watch You Advisor. You're always, Joel is always here. Yeah, Godless Cortex is always here too. For the replay viewers and for the live viewers, tapping the screen is what gives heart. So you're always welcome to do that if you like what I say. Hi from LA. Yes, LA is prime time for you guys over there, 7:30, right? Okay, so let's jump right into it. What I want to talk about to you tonight. There is an orgasm gap in especially hookups. The other expert is MH Sexpert. And there's also Jody Aaron. So look both of them up. Okay. There's an orgasm gap, especially in hookups, in relationships as well, but men are much more likely to have an orgasm during sex than women are. And we all know that, right? That's nothing new. What is really striking is to look at those numbers in hookups. They are really they're really staggering differences. So let me show you a graph. I will not be answering questions that are unrelated to this topic, okay? I'll show. Okay. So this was a massive study of over like 12,000 people, 12,000 students, and they asked them if they had an orgasm in their most recent hookup that included intercourse. Can you see the numbers? So 78% of the men had an orgasm in their most recent hookup. Only 42% of the women experienced an orgasm. So that's almost half of what the men experienced, right? That is pretty striking. It's a pretty striking difference. That's pretty sad, right? Yeah. Now, why? Why the hell? Define hookup. No, it's not just any sex encounter, but an encounter that is not a long-term romantic partner. So it can be a one-night stand. It can be like a fuck buddy relationship or a friends with benefits. So someone who's not sort of a committed long-term partner. So there is an orgasm gap in committed, sex too, but it's not nearly as big. So in that same study, when they asked them if they had an orgasm during their most recent relationship sex, about 90% of the guys said yes, and about 75 or 80% of the women said yes. So there was, men still were more likely to come than women, but it wasn't nearly as big of a difference. So there's something especially going on with hookups. There's something going on, period, but there's something especially going on with hookups. Okay, what the hell is going on with hookups? For those of you joining in late, my name is Dr. Jana. I'm a sex researcher talking about casual sex and why women don't come as often in hookups. So, number one, most women do not come from PIV, from penile vaginal intercourse, penis and vagina intercourse, right? Up to 75% of women don't regularly come from intercourse. We know this. Like, this is a known thing in the research world, in the medical world. Unfortunately, it's often not very well known outside. So, if only intercourse happens in an encounter, especially in a hookup, women are not very likely to have an orgasm. But if other things happen in a hookup, like oral sex, and most importantly, they touch themselves, they stimulate their own clitoris during that hookup, then they're so much more likely to come. I'm going to show you another graph from that same study that looked at the difference that is true for both casual and non-casual sex, the things that are very specific to hookups. Okay. I don't know how much you can see this, but look at the stuff over here. So this is when women had sex with someone for the first time. It was a hookup. It was a first time hookup. When only oral sex happened, only 15% of women had an orgasm. When intercourse only happened, only 26% had an orgasm. This went up to 37% if both intercourse and oral sex happened. About 32% if oral sex, if intercourse and self-stimulation. And look at this number. Look at this one. 63% of women came if they had intercourse, oral, and self-stimulation. So, it's possible. It's possible to increase the numbers. Any idea how many people were polled? Yes, this was about 13,000 college students from 22 different colleges. So from all over the U.S. It was all undergrads, but it was a very large number of undergrads from 22 colleges. Okay, so there's that thing that women don't orgasm with just intercourse. They need more. They need more sexual behaviors to happen. They need oral sex. They need self-stimulation, right? So, yeah, someone was saying they feel more inhibited about self-stimulation. Well, before we get to that, not a very well-experienced population group. That is correct. That is correct. But these are young people. These are people, 18 to 22. So, number two is women don't know how to please themselves. They often, especially young women, they don't really have a connection with their bodies. About 30 to 40% of young women didn't masturbate at all in the past year. Up to 75% didn't masturbate at all in the past month. So they don't know what gets them off. They don't even touch themselves on their own, let alone with a partner. 30% of undergrads don't know where the clitoris is. They can't find it exactly on a diagram of a female, of the female sort of reproductive organs. They can't find it. 30% of women, they don't know where their own clitoris is. And that's the exact same number of men who can't find it. Data. This is data, right? I mean, the group that needs oral sex and self-stimulation. Yeah, I mean, most women need some self-stimulation and or oral sex or, manual stimulation. So, okay, so women don't come from intercourse, but they often don't know how to come in a different way. They don't know how to make themselves come in a different way. And then they don't ask for help. They don't ask for help. In that same study that I was just showing you the data from, only 12% touched their own clit during their hookup. 12%. The thing that made them come the most was something that happened almost the least. They don't want to hurt the guy's ego. Yeah, that's often the case. They don't feel comfortable doing it. They are, they're not sexually assertive. They are shy. They, who knows what's happening, but they obviously don't feel comfortable doing the thing that might actually get them to experience more pleasure. So it's the belief that the guy should know, right? The guy should know how to make me come, regardless if that's true or not. They don't feel worthy. There's that belief that, sex is not that important for women, right? Or, it's about men's orgasm. Men also generally aren't getting, yes, great at setting nice environments for women. Absolutely. And I'll get to that. That's number 4. No, the Viagra pill will not improve the orgasm problem. No. The orgasm problem is not a physiological problem. The orgasm problem is a behavioral and a cultural problem. Like what we do, what women do and what men do, right? So women don't feel comfortable because they have all these like terrible beliefs that sex ends when the guy comes, which usually happens through intercourse, that, she doesn't have the right to demand pleasure. And that is more the case in hookups than many men get intimidated too, so women sacrifice their own needs to make sure the man feels good. Yeah, exactly. And because we teach women that they need to be giving and they need to, please the other person, and they don't, their pleasure and their satisfaction doesn't matter that much as long as the guy is happy. They don't feel like they have the right to demand pleasure. Okay, so you hooked up and he came. Well, don't let him out of your house. Be like, you ain't going anywhere until you get me off or help me get off. However that is going to is going to work. Or and most guys will be like, oh, okay. Oh, well, how do I do that, right? And if he says no, fuck you, then don't go back to him. Sex is a man's language, so we're always trying to speak their language. That's what we teach women. Exactly, Valerie. We need to demand our pleasure, and we need to teach women to demand their pleasure. We need to encourage women to demand their pleasure and to feel like they have the right to it. Okay, number 4 is guys often don't care about women's pleasure in hookups, whereas they do care in long-term relationships. And again, we have data to support this. In that same study, the guys were like, well, yeah, I care about making her come. And they were like, yeah, you care about making who come? Well, my girlfriend. And they were like, okay, but how about the hookups? And he's like, well, I don't care. I don't give a shit about women in hookups. Okay, that you don't hear from women ever. Women will try to make the guy come whether they just met him 5 minutes ago or they've been married to him for, 20 years. But men, and not all men, I don't want to generalize, but it is more common. There are men, I would say a substantial minority of men who hook up who don't really care about whether they please the woman or not. Also, they don't know very well how to please women either. Like, all they know is what they see in porn, and what they see in porn is not exactly what pleases women, right? And So combine that with they don't really care, they don't know the person, that person is not telling them what they want, right? They're not getting any sort of feedback, they're not getting any sort of request for pleasure, and they don't know what to do. So they're just gonna default to doing what feels good to them. What they know is what women have given in the past, exactly. Yeah, porn sex is not what pleases women. Often it isn't. Porn is a fantasy. In porn, you do what looks good for the camera, not what feels good. Porn teaches them they touch and she moans and she goes crazy, right? But no, porn is what looks good for the camera. And those angles often don't work for the women, because if there's any sort of penile vaginal intercourse that does work for women, it's the kind of intercourse that has, rubbing of the clit kind of involved. And those are the positions that don't look good on camera. Promos are pretty violent, degrading to women. That's true in porn. Young men have less experience with women's bodies than the women do. And women fake orgasms. Yeah, exactly. They'll make, they'll pretend that they actually enjoyed it when they didn't, just to, make the guy feel good. And both men and women have young men and women have limited experience with the other sex, with the bodies of men and women. But men feel more comfortable telling women what they want done in the hookup, whereas women just don't express that desire. I was just talking to one of my students the other day, and she was saying the exact same thing. She was like, well, now I demand pleasure, now that I'm 24. But when I was 18 or 17, no, I would have never asked. If what he was doing wasn't exactly good for me, I was just going to go along with it. It's a real bash session. Who am I bashing? I'm bashing men and women. I'm bashing people for not taking pleasure. I'm bashing women for not taking responsibility for their own pleasure. And I'm bashing men for not caring or not being giving enough. How much time do you expect a man to hook up to assist a woman to orgasm? It may take up to 40 minutes. I don't know. That really depends. Depends on what kind of hookup it is. And sure, it takes some commitment. There needs to be some communication. Can I interview that? So yeah, and I'm just giving you facts, right? And I'm kind of taking what the facts are saying and implying, kind of taking the implications of what that means for real life. So, and really what I'm bashing in the end is our society that creates that sort of space where no one knows what to do. And with the other sex, and especially women don't feel comfortable asking for that. Do I do any seminars? Not yet, but I will. Hi, Past the Bananas. You're new to my scope. Welcome. So for those of you who are joining late or who are new to my scope, my name is Dr. Jana. I am a sex researcher. I study casual sex, non-monogamy, and a sexual orientation, and I teach human sexuality to undergrads at NYU. I run the Casual Sex Project, where people post their true stories of hookups. So if you haven't seen that, or you haven't posted a story, go check out people's stories. We have over 1,500 stories at this point, and you can contribute your own. It's a really interesting, diverse presentation of what casual sex feels and looks like. The URL is thecasualsexproject.com. I am actually teaching. Someone asked me, thanks, Julie, if I do seminars. I'm actually teaching a class on hooking up healthy at the Sexual Health Expo in New York City in September. So if anyone's in New York City or around New York City, please come to the Sexual Health Expo. If you decide to fuck someone, you should care about that person's pleasure. Absolutely. And that's my point, that, even if it's a, 15-minute, quickie or 5-minute quickie in the bathroom with someone that you just met and you may never see again, do the best you can to give them pleasure as much as you're going to try to get pleasure yourself. It should be, even the most casual of the casual sex can be mind-blowing if we just tried. If someone can write out the link to the project to my website, it's thecasualsexproject.com. And if you just Google Dr. Jana and casual sex, it'll come up, I promise. It's we get a lot of views. We get like 100,000 visitors each month, about 700,000 views. So thanks, Jody. Yes, it's thecasualsexproject.com. And we're actually in the process of redesigning it and making it more interactive and making it, adding more content and all that. So, please go on there, check it out. Sign up for my list. There will be stuff coming out. I'm gonna do some videos. I'm gonna do some online courses and all that. They're all in the works because people clearly need this. Is the baggage of casual sex worth the reward? It really depends. For some women and men, it is, and for others, it isn't, because the baggage is much heavier for some people, and there is no baggage at all for others. So it really depends on what kind of person you are. I went down on my girl for 3 minutes. I missed that. If you can repeat that. Okay, so that was my sort of quick analysis on with some data on why women are less likely to orgasm, and especially less likely to orgasm in hookups. So most of them do not come through penile vaginal intercourse, number one. Unfortunately, thank you, most of them also, or many of them, don't know how else to please themselves and teach their partners to please them, which requires either oral sex or manual stimulation. And if the partner is not very good with his hands, she should be able to know, and she should feel comfortable doing it herself with her own hands. When women touch themselves during hookups, they come so much more. God damn it. They don't ask for help, and they should. They should demand their pleasure. So that's really key. And then men often don't care about women's pleasure in hookups, even though they do care about their girlfriends and wives' pleasure. And so what we really need is to nudge men to be more giving and caring in hookups with their hookup partners, even people they just met like 5 minutes ago, whose name they don't know and are never going to remember. And women, we need to teach them. We really need to teach them and give them the permission and encouragement they need to ask for their pleasure, demand pleasure, whatever that means for them. I prefer the vaginal orgasm. They do it better. Yeah, I mean, there are some women, there are about 30% of women who can come from vaginal intercourse. But there are also women who really love the combination, right? So because vaginal intercourse can add additional, like a lot of additional stimulation. It's not like women don't enjoy the vaginal intercourse. They do. It's just not the thing that gets them over the edge. And so in combination, it's like the best thing ever, right? What are some examples you believe are kind and assertive to demand their... I'm not sure examples, what you mean by examples. I missed the previous comment. I think it was something that I wanted to read or address, so please repeat that. But yeah, so it's really possible. I went down on my girl for 3 minutes when I don't usually. She wanted my penis after. Again, I mean, oftentimes guys don't really know how to do oral. And that might not be a generalized statement. Like what worked for your previous girlfriend, for example, might not actually work for your current girlfriend. But again, women are... It's easier often for a woman to just say, never mind, just forget about that oral sex. If what you're doing is not what feels good for her, then to actually try and tell you exactly how she likes it. Because often we don't have the vocabulary to even explain what it is that we want. And often we just, again, women don't feel comfortable expressing that. So we have so much work to do to get both men and women to have really good, fun, pleasurable sex for everyone, especially in that hookup kind of scenario. As a man, I like confidence in women as much as women like a confident man. Yeah, absolutely. Right. women often fear, right, that if they touch themselves or if they, show you what they want, the guy's going to be like, oh, I'm the man, I should be. And, there are probably some men whose egos are fragile enough to not be able to take that. But in my experience, most men, like, they want the woman to show them what she likes, right? Of course, yes. So there are various ways to show someone or tell someone what you want. It doesn't have to be verbal. It can be your body language can show them. You tell and they rather be shown. Yeah, absolutely. So find the way to do that. Try with nonverbal kind of subtle signs, and then if that's not working, then what are hang-ups? What are hang-ups? Like things that people have sort of an issue or are sensitive about, or yeah. So hookups. Yeah. So often women complain that casual sex is bad, or like on Tinder, when they'll say no hookups because that means you're not a good, not a good lover. Younger guys seem receptive to guidance. Older guys seem more arrogant. I don't know about that. We don't have any data to suggest that. And it might be. I think it depends on the person. I think for some men, it's actually when they're younger, they're cockier, and then over time they realize, what, maybe I should listen to women, or maybe I should, or they start valuing the fact that a woman knows what she wants, whereas sometimes it's the other way around. So I think it's a personality thing. But we don't have any data exactly on how age is related to how sort of arrogant in bed they are, or if anything, we do have some data to suggest that men become less sort of typically hyper masculine over time. So they're kind of super hyper masculine when they're 18, 19, 20, and then that slowly decreases a little bit. And probably that goes down with testosterone as well, as testosterone decreases. But I think that also has to do with them just kind of, learning more about sexuality, learning to be more open, to be more, even accepting of women, and more, I think they start caring more about women's pleasure. The 30s seem to be the best in the middle. Well, the 30s certainly seem to be the best for women. When you look at data, and this is like nationally representative data, so 18-year-old women, 75% of them did not masturbate last month. 75% of 18-year-olds in the US, women, did not masturbate in the last month. That number for the 25 to 29-year-olds is 50%. So many more. That's still an abysmal statistic. I would still like to see many, many more women masturbating in the past month. But you can see the difference. Just 10-year difference from 18 to 29, right? And it goes from 75 to 50% of those who didn't masturbate. I'm 34. I find myself wanting a woman my age or older. That's because I want confidence. Yeah. I know many of my girlfriends do not. Of those who don't masturbate. Yeah, it's really sad. So, and I don't know, maybe they're just lying. That would be the happy interpretation that I would like to have, that they're lying to us, that they're shy about admitting that they are actually masturbating. But I fear that it's not, that not all of that is lying. You mean you don't want a younger girl? Wow, that's actually a relief. Yeah, it's funny, there are many men who prefer, women who are somewhat older exactly because of this, because they are so much more in touch with their sexuality. They've kind of managed to get rid of some of that stigma and repression, and they've started touching themselves, and they started, you know, being more assertive and being more comfortable expressing their desires in sexual situations. Wow, this has been really fun, really awesome. We've had such a great conversation. I feel should I have another woman do oral sex with my girl? Hey, if she's into it, absolutely. And in fact, I'm glad you mentioned, you know, girl on girl sex or woman on woman sex. This is what's really interesting. So a lot of people are arguing, you know, well, women don't come as often because, you know, their bodies are just not made to come as easily. And that may be true to some extent. But lesbians come as often, almost as often, not as often, but almost as often as men having sex with women, as hetero men come. Okay, let me say that again. Lesbian women, so women who have sex with women, whose partners are women, are almost as likely to come when they have sex with their partner as are heterosexual men. So there's clearly something going on with one, partner skill. So, you know, the women are more likely to know what pleases another woman, and probably, you know, how much they care as well, because women, as we talked, they're more likely to care for their partners regardless of the context. How is it for gay men? Oh, hi, James. James is a good friend of mine in real life. For gay men are just as likely to come as straight men, pretty much. You know, it doesn't matter for them. So what, lesbians, right. So it has to do with partner skill, and how much they care. Oh, right. I knew I wanted to say one more thing. Why? So it's really interesting to think about why, you know, lesbians, you don't see, you know, that gap where you don't see lesbians, you know, not having orgasms very frequently. They're just as likely to orgasm as men are, and so certainly partner skill can be one of those things. But I think another thing that plays a role is that lesbian women are you know, more in touch with their sexuality than many heterosexual women, because they had to go through a process of questioning their sexuality on one front, on the sexual orientation front. And so they were just, you know, more likely to then question other things and explore other things. So they're just more likely to have explored who they are sexually, what they want, to feel more comfortable expressing their needs in the sexual realm. And so I think both of those things contribute to why women are you know, almost as likely to come when their partners are women than men are when their partners are women. But when women partner with men, women get the worst end of the deal. How do I get my straight girl to accept another woman to go down on her? Well, if she's straight and doesn't want that, then it might not be possible. Could you tweet a link to the masturbation data you just gave, please? It's disturbing. Hi, Tio Besta. She's one of my Twitter followers. Are you married? I am married, yes. Yes, I can tweet that data. It is by Debbie Herbenek. But please remind me, can you tweet at me? Even just tweet right now and remind me, because my memory is terrible. But it is by Debbie Herbenek, she's the main author, who is an amazing researcher who's done so much for kind of teaching us about sexuality in the U.S. She's one of the main authors of this major study that many papers have been published on, that sampled a nationally representative sample of U.S. adults of all ages, I think from 15 all through, you know, whatever age. And it's a large sample. It's like 3,000 or 4,000 people, and it's nationally representative. So we have a lot of data that come from that study. And Debbie Herbenek is the first author on many of them. What do you think goes wrong when marriage fails with no apparent reason? Oh, that's such a big question. There can be so many different things. I've answered some of those questions in previous scopes. So I would try to stick to the casual sex and the orgasm gap for this one. Any other thoughts, questions on that? How do you know a girl has an orgasm? Yeah, that's a skill to learn. One of the best ways to know is vaginal contractions. Anal contractions also are involuntary. That happens when women orgasm. But there's no like foolproof way. You can ask for sure, but women often lie, right? They'll fake an orgasm. There's no surefire way for all women. My concern as a single man is being able to stay physically interested in one woman for a long time. Flushing can be one of those things, but nothing is foolproof. She can make herself hyperventilate and sort of make the faking of the orgasm even more believable than just like moaning or faking the moaning part. But usually kind of involuntary movements of the body, clenching of the vaginal walls, flushing and all of that. Asking could pressure her into lying to please you though. Asking could pressure. Asking if she came could feel like pressure for her to please you, and it can be so. But often that is the only way that you can sort of communicate that or show that you care about her orgasm. And she can choose to be like, what, this is not going to happen tonight. It's been great, I've had fun, but it's I'm not going to come or whatever. So open communication is always key, and asking the question in a way that kind of allows for whatever answer comes out, and with trying not to pressure. Is coming and orgasm the same thing? Those are often synonyms. Now you can think about sort of experiencing a psychological orgasm and actually having like ejaculation. Thanks God, lost cortex. And those can sometimes happen not simultaneously. So sometimes you can have one without the other. Faking is a lose-lose situation, absolutely. Recommended books for couples. God, I don't know. I don't have a recommendation for you. Complicated subject, really. Yeah. I wanted to address something that someone asked a little earlier on. I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to stay interested in. Thank you. Yay! I'll let my hairdresser know that you guys like my hair. That he won't be able to stay interested in the same woman for a very long time. And some people do indeed get bored more easily sexually. And it's not just sexually, but some of us have more of a novelty, sensation-seeking gene, more of a boredom susceptibility. So we constantly need more and novel stimuli to keep us interested. And it's just not just sexual. That probably is a more generalized. It's a more generalized kind of tendency, because that's how our brains are wired. My brain is wired that way too. And so for us, one way to think about how you could, one solution to that is being poly, right? Or being in some sort of an open relationship where you could. So don't be unfaithful. If you know that you're the kind of person who wants new stimuli, probably an open relationship is the way to go. Don't promise monogamy to anyone. Find a woman, because you are probably, I'm willing to bet on it, that you are someone who can get attached and fall in love with a woman. However, over time you will lose sexual interest for her, but that doesn't mean that you don't love her anymore. So create a relationship where you can get, casual sex on the side, or sex, with other partners on the side with her permission, and hopefully, she can go and play with other people too. Do you have props to demonstrate what you're saying? What kind of props? So that would be my advice. Someone else was saying, I've been married for like 20 plus years, and I find my wife even sexier than before. So you probably have, your brain is wired in a somewhat different way. So some of us, as I said, some of us are just more susceptible to getting bored easily, and other people don't get bored as easily. And I'm almost envious to the people who don't get bored as easily, because it's just easier that way sometimes. My morals don't want to accept that, but my penis would love to ignore my morals. Yeah, you're raising a really interesting question of how to reconcile our desires with our attitudes, values, morals. And it can be tough, but you don't want to have this dissonance, this cognitive and behavioral dissonance where, your desires, like your penis, is pulling you in one direction and your morals are pulling you in the other direction. One will have to give. Otherwise, you're going to live a repressed life, or an unhappy and frustrated life, or you're going to end up cheating on your wife to whom you promised monogamy. You're going to be the Duggar kind of type where dissonance is a great word. Yeah, we use that in psychology, right? Where so why does everyone cheat then? Not everyone cheats. Not everyone cheats, absolutely. But a lot, a significant portion of people cheat, and that's exactly why, because we live in a society that teaches us, that gives us these morals that, you can't have an open relationship, and you're supposed to stay faithful to the same person for 50, 60 years without ever being with anyone else. And that works for some people. It doesn't work for many other people. So I think we need to change our morals, because what are morals? You can set your own morals in some way. I set my morals at consent. I want the things that I do to not harm other people, and everything I do is done with consent with everyone involved. Do you think therapy works? Yes, therapy can work for different things. Some problems, some sexual problems are easier solved with therapy, are more responsive to therapy, and some are less responsive to therapy. Thank you for the tattoo compliment. I have been promising scopers that I will do a tattoo scope where I show you all my tattoos, and I will do it as soon as my husband comes back. He's in Colorado. He lives in Boulder half of the time, and in New York half of the time. And he's coming back tomorrow night. And because I have a big back tattoo, and so I need him to help me with showing it to you. And that's why I haven't done that yet. But it's coming. It's coming. Within the next couple of days, I will do a tattoo. Dr. Jana's tattoo, a tour of Dr. Jana's tattoos. Vagina props to demonstrate what you're saying. I'm guessing you mean a vagina props. I'm not going to demonstrate anything on vaginal props. I do have a fleshlight though. I could show you something, I guess, on the fleshlight. I'm not sure how Periscope would feel about that. I know they have a no nudity and no no sexual content. I don't know how they would feel about that. Maybe some other time. Yeah, I got a fleshlight because it was they were one of the sponsors at the Sex Geek summer camp where we were, and actually Amanda, who's in the scope, she was there too. We all got a lot of different great gifts from Enjoy, and from Fleshlight, and from Trust Intimacy, which is my new favorite, massage oil. And so yeah. Okay, yes, that's Amanda, Nanda Junkie. And she does these really, I think they're beautiful scopes for a lot of people. She does these morning gratitude kind of meditation gratitude moments, like what are you grateful for? And I think that's a great way to start the day. I don't do gratitude enough, so I want to do more of that. Sorry, I just missed that comment because I was talking too much about gratitude and Amanda, but do follow Ananda Junkie and do some, moments of gratitude in the morning. Actually, there is a lot of research that shows that doing sort of thinking about gratitude and what we're grateful for in a day is really good for our mental health. We're happier and healthier. Coconut oil makes great lube. A lot of people use it as lube. One thing, do not use with condoms. Oh, Ananda means bliss. I did not know that. Well, that's perfect for your name, Amanda. No, coconut oil is amazing. A lot of my friends use it. I don't know why I've never used it myself, but yeah, any food grade oil, anything that you can eat. So olive oil too, you can certainly use as lube, but oils degrade condoms, degrade latex, and degrade polyurethane, and so don't use them in combination. Do you believe in blaming a bad childhood on your present behavior? Sure. Sure. Often, I mean, we have plenty of evidence to suggest that, people who had rough childhoods, who were abused, who were neglected, who experienced and were subjected to a lot of violence, whether in the home or in their neighborhoods, that they end up being, having a lot of negative outcomes. ACE's study, I'm not sure which one that is. Who needs lube? Most people need lube. A lot of people need lube, especially if you're having sex with a condom or with a circumcised penis. Okay, so I know a lot of people are from other countries, and you may want to be careful using oils with sex, though. No. Are you saying not to use coconut oil with some types of toys? No, it's toys are fine. Toys are not made of latex or polyurethane, so they're fine. You can use oil with toys. You just can't use them with condoms, with most condoms. The one type of condom you can use oil with is the female condom. I don't know if you folks have seen the female condom, but that one is made of nitrile. I think that's what it's called, and that's different, and that is fine with oil. So you can use that with oil, but with most condoms, don't use oils. Just use either water-based lube or silicone-based lube. ACEs, yes, thanks, Jody. Adverse childhood experiences, yes, plenty of evidence to suggest that kids who were subjected to adverse childhood experiences, whether there was emotional abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, they end up being more screwed up in many ways. I mean, it's really sad, but they also end up being more, both more likely to be victims later in life, to suffer from like depression and those kinds of things, and anxieties of all kinds, but also to be sort of more aggressive, more likely to harm other people. I'm not a therapist, actually. I don't do therapy. I'm afraid my web's going to start popping the new Viagra for women like Tic Tacs. That's probably not how it works. You only take one a day. Physical illness too. Yes, that's one of the adverse outcomes that happen to people with who get neglected and abused in childhood. Yes, Jody Aaron is a great therapist. She's in Connecticut, so people who maybe are around there, she would probably make a great therapist. I'm not a therapist. I just do research and I teach, and this is my virtual classroom. I love absolutely having this this outlet. It was love at first sight. But what else? Thanks, Jody. That's great to know that I've popped up in your sessions even when I'm not there. That's great. Yes. So. First scope. Yeah, it was love at first scope. Exactly. Great. Skype sessions for Jody. Yeah, heard that you have to swallow Viagra or you will get a stiff neck. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, but I wanted to go back to the popping the female Viagra. Yes, she would only be taking one pill a day, and probably the effects are not going to be massive. They're not going to be huge. But if she has low libido and that's distressing to her, that might be something to consider to bring more desire. We're eating the fruit off the science vine here. Can also find you on YouTube. Not yet. I am going to be on YouTube very, very soon. I'm going to repurpose my periscopes and put them all on YouTube. I'm just kind of putting that all together right now, so that you can watch this more, and I'll be doing other things on YouTube as well. If you missed any of my scopes, you can find them on Catch Me at Dr. Jana. So catch.me/Dr. Jana. Viagra works really well for most men. Do you think spouses who both have troubled pasts are drawn to each other? Sometimes we are drawn to similarity. So, okay, so I think I'm gonna wrap up. We talked, wow, we talked about a lot of other things too, but this was primarily inspired by a article that Lisa Wade, who's a social scientist, published in Alternet just today. I think it came out. So please read the piece. It's a good piece. It kind of went over a lot of the data that I was talking about in the scope. And if I come back and I do daily scopes. I scope twice a day, where, one of them is always Ask Us Expert sort of scope, where you can ask me whatever you want. You can always find me on other social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as Dr. Jana. 2 scopes in one day. Yeah, I usually do 2 scopes. I try to scope twice a day because I can't be away from this app for longer than that. Okay. Well, you should go and make love to your wife now. Gender dysphoria next time. Okay, yes. Yeah, I will do that. Oh, I have an announcement. I have another announcement to make. So, I don't know how many of you have heard of Parachute TV, but they're trying to be the first TV network sort of on Periscope, and I'm doing sort of a special with them on Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're all interested, I haven't decided yet what I'm going to be talking about, but I have a feeling it's going to be either fetishes or something to do with polyamory, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll see, because I've been getting a lot of questions about that. And if you don't follow me already, please follow me now. If you think that this could have been of use to some of your followers on Twitter or Periscope, please share that with people. Yeah, fetishes. I see we're voting. Yeah, if you have a topic that you want me to cover, that you want me to do a separate scope on, I will be doing those days to come. So please, tweet at me or email me. Find me on find my website, drjana.com. I'm at Dr. Jana everywhere. So, and actually, Trudy Desert Mouse, who just made a comment, she was one of the people saying fetishes. She tweeted at me earlier today. So that is definitely something that people have been asking about. Oh, good luck with your first therapy session. No, anal sex is not going to cause any problems. No, go for it. Or tell her to go for it. Okay, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for the awesome questions, for the awesome engagement. This has been great. And actually, I just realized we didn't have a single troll. Not a single person who asked me to show boobs or, told me to shut up and all that. This is great. I just realized that. Okay, thank you so much for all the hearts. I really appreciate them. Tells me that I'm doing something right, that you like what you hear and what you see. And yeah. That's funny. Sani, what's your name? Sani Corpus. What's your name? I have a feeling you're gonna be a regular. Sorry, Ace, I gotta leave. I know you can't watch me sleep. Oh, James, you just tapped the screen, right? I just realized there might be some new people to Periscope. Tap the screen, and that's how you give hearts, and you can tap as much as you want. All right, Mike. No boobs. Yeah, just tap, exactly. And that's always nice to do for Periscopers whenever you watch something that you like. Barcelona. Oh, wow, nice. I love Barcelona. Double tap or single tap. Just a single tap will give you 1 heart. And yeah. Hola. There are more people here who wanna share some of their Spanish. I haven't spoken Spanish in. Let us tour your apartment. No, sorry. Maybe I'll do the day when I do a tattoo scope, a tattoo tour. I'll do an apartment tour. Where are you, Ace? Where in the world are you? You may have told me, but I missed it. It's so nice to know that people like what I do. This is really, he wants more of you. I know. Oh, Boston. God, I'm so overdue a Boston visit. I've been promising my good friend in Boston to come and visit for a couple of years now. I might be there soon. All right. As much as this is fun, and I love that you want me to stay, but I actually still have some more work to do on the redesign of the Casual Sex Project. So if you are in New York or anywhere now around New York at the end of the month, on the 20th, I am teaching a workshop on hooking up healthy. Hi, Cleveland. Yes, catch me at /Dr. Jana is where you can find all my previous scopes. They're all saved there, and then I'm going to put them all on YouTube as soon as my personal assistants are all trained to do everything that I want them, the way I want them done. All right. Bye-bye. Have a good night or day, whatever it is where you are.